Back in high school, I had a huge fight with the campus beauty, Clara Snow. In the middle of a grand school event, she shouted at me, "I've had enough. From now on, I'll never talk to you again. Just pretend we never even met." Her voice was choked with tears, full of pain and fury. After yelling, she turned and ran off, leaving me frozen in place, completely lost. No one could have guessed. The very next day, I vanished completely. It was like I evaporated into thin air. My classmates and teachers asked around everywhere, but no one could find me. No one knew where I had gone. Clara panicked. She searched every place I used to go, but I was nowhere to be found. Finally, she went to my house, only to discover it was already empty. The neighbors said our family had left in a hurry, without leaving behind a single word. Clara refused to give up. She pulled every string she could, trying to get information about me. When the police told her there was no such person, her whole body trembled. Her face turned pale. Her eyes filled with terror and despair. In that moment, her world crumbled. Only one terrifying thought filled her mind. The boy she loved might be gone forever. Time flew by. 3 years passed. All that time, Clara was haunted by that thought. The pain in her heart never truly healed. And I had been quietly working on a national scientific mission. Now that I'd completed it, I finally returned to this familiar yet distant city. After coming back, I learned that Clara was now a junior at Kyoto University. To make up for the regrets of high school, I gave up the opportunity to become a professor at Tsinghua. Instead, I enrolled at Kyoto University as a freshman. At the freshman reception desk of the management department, Clara sat quietly on a chair in a flowing white dress. I secretly peeked in her direction. Standing next to her, Megan's eyes sparkled. A playful smile tugged at the corner of her mouth. She gently nudged Clara's shoulder and teased, "Clara, you're seriously the #1 legend here at Kyoto U. Look at those new freshmen. Their eyes are practically glued to you. They're acting like they've lost their souls. I bet once orientation ends, the whole campus will be swarming with guys asking about you. I can already see your mailbox overflowing with love letters." Megan even exaggerated with a hand gesture, pretending to stuff the mailbox full. Clara frowned slightly. She gave Megan a helpless glance, gently brushed her hand away, and said flatly, "Let them be. I'm really not interested in dating. Those boys, they're just chasing novelty. Compared to dating them, I'd rather hang out with you guys. Go feel the evening breeze by Lake Way, grab late-night snacks at the street food alley by the North Gate. That's way more romantic than love. Wind in our hair, snacks in our hands. And watching him play in school basketball games." Those were the things she used to say to that boy. But now, among the thousands of students on this campus, some may have similar eyes or nose, some may even sound like him. But in the end, none of them were him. Megan, her roommate for a year, could see the sadness in Clara's eyes. She grew nervous immediately. "Clara, don't tell me you're still hung up on that boyfriend who died 3 years ago?" Everyone in their dorm knew a little about Clara's old high school crush. Whether it was puppy love or not, it was just youth. We've all been through something like it, but even a mourning period lasts only 3 years. It's been long enough. Why not try starting fresh? Clara understood what Megan was getting at. She smiled freely and said, "It's not like I can't let go. I just still haven't found someone else I can love." Clara tugged Megan's hand and nudged her playfully. "All right now, stop standing around. This is the time when freshmen are starting to arrive. Shouldn't you be greeting them at the gate? Who knows? Maybe this year we'll get a few handsome guys who are just your type." "Good point." Megan's eyes lit up. She quickly left the reception desk and rushed to greet students at the school gate. Clara let out a soft sigh. How could youthful feelings be forgotten so easily? With a single turn, she had taken my entire youth with her. Her slightly red eyes blinked quickly, and suddenly, she was back in those days, passing notes during literature class, copying lyrics during music class, even making sweet daydreams in the 10-minute breaks between classes. A gust of wind blew by, messing up her long hair. Clara looked up slightly, her face unconsciously tinged with sadness. "If only you were still here." At the gates of Kyoto University, I stood with a suitcase in hand. I looked up at the bold words carved above the entrance. Inside my once calm heart, something stirred again. Leaving without saying goodbye back then, she must have been heartbroken. I took a long breath and walked slowly toward the pink reception booth. I hadn't gone far when a volunteer in uniform came up quickly. "Hey there, freshman. Which department are you in?" "I'm a volunteer helping with orientation. I'll take you to check in." "I'm in the management department," I replied. "Oh, great. That's my department too." "Then I'll trouble you, senior." "Not at all." Megan smiled brightly. What a coincidence, you're actually my junior. Let me carry your suitcase. I'll take you to check-in. I subtly pulled the suitcase back. No need. It's pretty heavy. I'll handle it myself. All right then, just stay close and follow me. Megan didn't insist. She just led me toward the registration area. After a few steps, I asked her, "Senior, since you're in the management department, do you know Clara Snow?" "Of course I do," Megan replied instantly, her eyes shining with interest. "Hey, do you always get information this fast, freshman? You just got to campus and already you're curious about our school's beauty queen?" I chuckled. Clara and I went to the same high school. I chose to come to Kyoto University because of her. Megan from the business department looked surprised, then quickly gave me a knowing look. "So you're here for her, huh? Kids these days sure are bold. But since you went to the same school, you must have heard some things about Clara?" I froze for a second. Back in high school, Clara was always a top student. Aside from being called a beauty queen and a genius, I honestly didn't know of anything else. Just then, my phone rang from my pocket. "Sorry." I glanced at Megan apologetically as I picked up the call. Professor Liu was a faculty member at Kyoto University. He was already one of the top experts in microelectronics and solid-state electronics in China. Currently, he's the acting dean in charge of research at the School of Electronic Information. During my 3 years at the research base, I impressed many top professors with my expertise, earning recognition in both academic and national fields. Over the phone, a cheerful middle-aged voice came through. "Chief Engineer Leo, sorry about this. I was originally supposed to meet you at the gate, but something urgent came up with a national project. They asked me to help out. I had to leave the city. Really sorry." I shook my head with a smile. "If it's for a national project, I totally understand. I'm already getting my registration handled." Professor Liu continued. "Still, I don't get it. With your research level, you could easily replace a PhD candidate. Why go through undergrad all over again? Chief Leo, like I said before, anytime you change your mind, I can report it right away and make you an honorary professor at Kyoto University. If you want to teach, we can even create a custom course for you. I guarantee our offer will beat whatever Tsinghua University can give." Back at the research base, you were already the top pick in the eyes of every department head. But back then, I was solely focused on breakthrough work with photolithography machines. So no one tried to recruit me. Now that research is done, given my achievements, I could easily become an academician at the Academy of Sciences. A young academician like me is a highly sought-after talent anywhere. Now that you're here at Kyoto University, we won't let you go again." I smiled. "Let's talk about it later. Let me take a break first." "All right then, get your registration done. You're busy, I won't keep you." Professor Liu laughed. "Once you're settled, even though I'm not at campus now, if you need anything, just give me a call." I smiled and nodded, then ended the call. This was the registration area. Megan looked around but noticed Clara, who was sitting at the reception desk, had vanished. She quickly approached the others and asked, "Where's Clara? I brought her a junior from her hometown." Someone replied, "She said it's too hot today. Standing here all day is exhausting, so she's treating us to milk tea. She just went to grab it." Megan looked a little disappointed, then turned to me. "Sorry, freshman. Looks like she had something to do. You probably won't get to see her today." I smiled calmly. "No worries. There's still plenty of time ahead. We'll definitely run into each other sooner or later. I'm in business class 1, first year." Megan instantly smiled. "Then that's great. Clara and I are both assistant mentors for your class. You'll meet her tomorrow at the freshman orientation. Let's get you registered first." I nodded and walked over to the business school's registration table. After they checked my admission letter, found my name on the list, I signed and received my dorm key and student card. A senior student approached me. "Got everything you need? Great, I'll take you to the dorm now. Once you drop off your luggage, you can head to the dorm office to pick up bedding and essentials." I nodded, then followed the sophomore senior toward the boys' dorm in the business department. Not long after I left, Clara returned to the registration area with drinks. Megan rushed over immediately. "Clara, you really picked the worst time to leave. Listen, we just got a super handsome, super charming freshman in our department. He even said you two went to the same high school. I'm telling you, he definitely came here for you." Clara smiled helplessly. "Stop it. I'm not thinking about dating right now." Megan continued. "I didn't say you had to date him, but he's your direct junior from your hometown. You should at least take care of him. Anyway, he'll be at tomorrow's orientation. You'll see for yourself then." Then she added, "His name's Leo. Does that ring a bell?" Clara's heartbeat skipped a beat. Her voice began to tremble. What? What's his name again? Leo? Why? Megan asked, puzzled. Nothing. Clara shook her head, a hint of disappointment in her eyes. Which way did he go? Megan pointed in the direction I had just left. Clara looked over, and just at that moment I turned a corner with the senior and vanished into a small alley. But in that fleeting second, Clara felt like she saw a familiar back, then quickly shook her head. No way. It must be a coincidence. 3 summers ago, she had argued with Leo. She told him she never wanted to see him again. But 2 days later, she messaged him again. And from that moment on, it was like she disappeared from his world. Classmates, teachers, no one knew where she had gone. Her family had moved. Even the police couldn't find her ID records anymore. Back then, one terrifying thought had crept into Clara's mind, that she had died. For the past 3 years, she believed that idea wholeheartedly. So in her mind, there was no way that back she saw belonged to him. Maybe just someone with the same name and a similar silhouette. And so, Clara trembled slightly and pulled back her foot that had almost stepped forward. The senior who brought me here left after dropping me off at the dorm. I followed the dorm number marked on the key and pushed open the door to what would be my home for my entire college life. Before long, the other 2 roommates arrived. The 4 of us lined up based on our birthdays. Kevin was the oldest, Ryan second, I was third, and Liam was the youngest. Ryan laughed. It's not easy for people from all over the country to gather like this. I'm from the capital, so I'm familiar with this area. Tonight's on me. Let's go grab dinner together, what do you say? Kevin quickly waved it off. No need to treat us. Let's just keep it casual. But since you know the place better, you pick the spot. Liam and I both smiled and nodded. Just then, Liam's phone chimed with a notification. He quickly looked down at it, then raised the phone and said, Hey guys, did you all join the class group chat yet? The counselor just created one. They announced in the group, our assistant counselor this year is Clara Snow. You know who Clara Snow is, right? Kevin was the first to react. No way, for real? Clara's our assistant counselor? I raised my eyebrows slightly. I had looked into her before and I knew she was quite popular at Capital University. But I didn't expect this level of popularity. After reading the messages in the group, Ryan let out a sigh. What a shame. As the #1 beauty of Capital U, Clara's apparently still hung up on her ex-boyfriend who died 3 years ago. Otherwise, with her as our assistant counselor, I'd definitely be trying to win her over. My heart skipped a beat. I looked up and asked, 3 years ago? Clara had a boyfriend back then? Ryan nodded repeatedly, face full of gossip. From what I've heard, her ex was her deskmate in first year of high school, but he died in an accident. He sighed again. Such a pity. If they had just broken up, that'd be one thing. But since he died, I bet Clara will never get over that guy. First year deskmate? I froze. Wasn't I Clara's deskmate back then? Since when did I become her ex-boyfriend? Okay, I admit I had a bit of a crush on her at the time, but I never acted on it before I was taken away to do research work. I disappeared. I searched briefly, then stood up from my chair. Instantly, I drew the attention of the other 3. Yo, third bro, Liam said. Clara Snow. The one they say had a dead ex? Well, the school didn't give us enough supplies anyway. I need to go get some stuff too. Let's go together. Ryan and Liam stood up as well. They chimed in at the same time. We're coming too. I suddenly gained 3 shadows. My lips twitched, but I smiled calmly. All right then, let's all go. It's already been over 3 years. One more day won't make a difference. Since we only had to report in during the afternoon anyway, the 4 of us went to the supermarket near campus, bought everything needed for the dorm, and by the time we got back, it was around 7 p.m. After putting away our things and washing up, Ryan looked at us and said, Perfect timing. Let's go explore the area and grab a late-night snack. Of course, everyone agreed. Give me a moment to blow dry my hair, Ryan added. Guys, don't say I didn't warn you. Our campus is full of pretty girls. Way better than Waxy next door. Dress sharp, who knows? One of them might just fall for you. Kevin's eyes lit up. Damn, you should have said that earlier. I need to go change into something better. Liam perked up too, shouting toward Ryan. Bro, I suck at doing my hair. Help me out, will you? I shook my head, but couldn't stop a smile from creeping in. Maybe this was the feeling of youth. I lifted my phone, using the dark screen as a mirror. Still as handsome as ever. Girls' dormitory. Megan walked up to Clara with a smile. Hey Clara, what are we eating tonight? Clara answered calmly. Cafeteria, I guess. I heard the new tofu skin braised pork dish at the first floor canteen is pretty good. Megan quickly said, We just got to school and you want to eat in the cafeteria. We've been busy all day. Let's check out the area near the north gate. Maybe get some snacks and fruit. Clara rolled her eyes. I think you just want to check out the new freshman boys. Megan turned to the other two roommates, helpless. What about you two? Want to come? They nodded immediately. No problem. Clara looked up at Megan. It's been a whole summer break. It's been a while since we all went out together. Let's go then. The four girls from dorm 319 quickly left the building. They headed for the Northgate Food Street. Ryan, with hands in his pockets, looked at us and said, "This place is Capital U's famous food street. The BBQ spots here are legit. Pick one, guys." Kevin and Liam exchanged a glance, then looked at me. I casually scanned the shops around and picked the nearest BBQ joint. The guys nodded approvingly. Ryan stepped up to lead the way. Meanwhile, Megan clung to Clara's arm, and after scanning the area, said to the other girls, "All right, girls, think carefully. We can eat anywhere. Just pick a good spot." The others nodded in agreement. Megan turned back to Clara, and Clara casually lifted her head, glanced around, and suddenly trembled. Right at the BBQ shop entrance, I was standing there, next to Kevin and the others. Just as Clara Snow stepped into the BBQ restaurant, in that moment, her mind went completely blank. Her eyes locked onto the place I had just walked into, and she held her breath, unable to come back to her senses for a long time. It was clear she missed him deeply. Unlike the back she saw that morning just now, she seemed to have seen a guy who looked almost exactly like Jay. His clothes matched what she remembered: a clean white t-shirt, slim jeans, and that messy but somehow tidy long black hair. For a split second, Clara felt like she couldn't breathe. No matter how much she didn't want to believe it, Jay was already gone. Megan gently shook Clara's wrist. "Clara, what are you spacing out for?" Clara snapped back to reality, looked at Megan and the others and said, "Let's eat." Summer BBQ with beer is the perfect combo. Megan and the others had no objections, and Clara slowly led the group into the BBQ place I had just walked into. With every step she took, her heart beat faster. Was it really possible for someone in this world to look exactly the same? Or maybe, in that brief moment, her heart that had been numb for 3 years suddenly began to stir again. Whether it was just wishful thinking or a foolish hope, it didn't matter. She had to see. She had to meet the guy who looked just like Jay from her memories. Kevin and the others were the first to grab a booth in the restaurant. I casually took a look at the menu, then said, "I'm gonna hit the restroom. You guys go ahead and order." On the other side, Clara and her friends had also entered the restaurant. They found a corner table and sat down. After asking the owner for menus, Clara turned to the girls and said, "You guys handle the ordering. I think I just saw someone I know. I'm going to check." Megan's eyes lit up. "Someone you know? Is it a cute guy?" Clara rolled her eyes. "Cut it out. Just focus on ordering." Then she stood there for a moment, her eyes scanning every corner of the restaurant. But all she saw were unfamiliar faces. Disappointment showed clearly on her face. But she took a deep breath and began quickly pushing open the doors of each private booth in the restaurant. Still no familiar face. She walked out of each booth in disappointment, repeatedly muttering, "Sorry, sorry, wrong room." Finally, she pushed open the door to Kevin and the others' booth. The moment Clara walked in, the three boys widened their eyes in shock. "Hi there." "Hello." Clara gave them an awkward smile. Then, noticing the 4 sets of tableware on the table, she asked curiously, "Are you expecting someone else?" Liam quickly replied, "Our third guy went to the restroom." Clara nodded and apologized. "Sorry, I thought I saw someone I knew and walked into the wrong room." Then she quickly backed out. But just as she turned around, she saw a boy in a white t-shirt walking away, his back to her. Clara's heart started pounding again. Taking a deep breath, she slowly approached him from behind and tapped him quickly on the shoulder. The boy turned around fast, and when he saw Clara, his eyes lit up. "Hey, Clara, you looking for me?" Clara's expression froze. "Sorry, I thought you were someone else." "My bad. Really sorry." She apologized again and again, then returned to her friends looking lost and hollow. Megan immediately asked, "What happened? You looked like you lost your soul or something." "It's nothing," Clara forced a smile. Then she looked at the bottles of cold beer on the table. "It's our first BBQ night this semester. Let's have a couple drinks. Cheers to our hearts." She poured herself a full glass, then tilted her head back and downed it all in one go. Meanwhile, I slowly came out of the restroom, not even glancing at the main hall, and walked straight back into our booth. The table was already full of cold beer. When I walked in, Kevin and the others immediately smiled. "Dude, what took you so long in there? We've been waiting. Come on, let's toast to finally getting together from all corners of the country." I didn't hesitate, sat down and raised my glass with a smile. After a few rounds of drinks, Ryan looked a little flushed and lifted his glass with a grin. Guys, Clara's here too, eating in this restaurant. Should we go over and offer her a toast? I mean, she's going to be our assistant instructor during boot camp. I froze slightly. Clara came by? Liam chimed in. You were in the restroom. She probably walked into our booth by mistake. When I stepped out, I saw her and her roommates still drinking outside. Kevin nodded. Yeah, me too. Gotta say, Clara really is the queen of our campus. Even the way she drinks looks elegant. She's drinking? I frowned slightly. Clara used to never touch alcohol. I suddenly stood up from my chair. The others all looked at me. Hey, where are you going? I looked worried, but smiled at them. I'll be back in a bit. You guys keep drinking. I pushed open the booth door, walked out into the main hall, scanned the room, and soon spotted Clara at her table still drinking. Megan and the other two roommates were watching her nervously. Clara, maybe stop drinking? You're already drunk. Ever since Clara wandered around the BBQ place, they had felt something was off, like she'd lost her soul. And then she kept drinking, glass after glass. At first, they thought she was just in a bad mood, so they drank with her. But they never expected it would get this intense. I'm fine, Clara said. Just one last glass, then I'll stop. Her eyes looked dazed, her hand trembled as she held the glass. Her cheeks were flushed bright red. Truth is, a face she had dreamed about suddenly appeared before her eyes. It might have looked slightly different now, but Clara was sure. That was Jay. I suddenly snatched the glass of wine from her hand and downed it in one gulp. Megan looked at me, stunned. Junior, it's you? Hi, Megan. I greeted her politely, then glanced at Clara Snow with heartache. I asked the group, how much has she drunk? Megan pointed to the floor where 6 or 7 beer bottles sat. These were all finished by our dear Clara the Clown. Then she started acting drunk. Clara suddenly looked up, and tears welled up instantly in her reddened eyes. I'm not drunk, she said. Leo, is that you? Leo, you finally showed up. She suddenly threw her arms around me, holding me tightly, her whole body trembling. I promise you, she choked, I'll never argue with you again. Just please don't disappear on me again, okay? I looked at her with complicated emotions, then gently patted her trembling shoulder. Turning to Megan, I asked, Senior, where's your dorm? Let me help take her back first. Yes. Megan nodded quickly, clearly relieved. We honestly couldn't carry her. Thanks a lot, Leo. I shook my head with a faint smile, then gently pried Clara's hand off and helped her sit straight. I scooped her up in a princess carry, lifting her from the chair into my arms. Ignoring the looks, I slowly walked out of the barbecue restaurant's private room. A few of the guys poked their heads out curiously, seeing me carry Clara out. They were instantly frozen in place. It all happened so suddenly. Just moments ago, they were still debating whether to send Clara a love letter, but I just showed up and took her away. What the hell? Clara's other two roommates were totally confused. Over the past year in college, guys who'd chased Clara included rich second gens with sports cars, even young startup CEOs from outside school, but she turned them all down. She never even gave the guys on campus a second glance. So who the heck was this Junior? Just waltzing in and taking her away. Megan was just as surprised. From the looks of it, something juicy might have happened between the two. But as far as she knew, Clara had only ever had a story with one guy, her ex-boyfriend who died 3 years ago. Wait, Leo? Megan shivered at the thought. Don't tell me. This is some kind of resurrection arc? But there was no time to think too hard about it. She quickly ran to the cashier to pay the bill, then left the restaurant with her other two roommates following behind me. Outside the barbecue joint, the street was filled with students from Jing University. The moment I carried Clara out, all eyes turned our way. Sis, look, he's carrying her like a princess. Are they filming a drama? He's so handsome, and those legs are so long. I wish I was the girl in his arms. Girls all around started squealing non-stop. Meanwhile, some guys noticed something too. Wait, isn't that Clara Snow the Junior? No way. Put her down, that's my goddess. Wait, is Clara off the market? Clara blinked her eyes open in a daze and stared at me. So close. Then she wrapped her arms around my neck, clinging to me like a squirrel to a tree. Her breath warm against my cheek, she whispered, Leo, is it really you? Leo, you're finally back, promise me. Don't ever leave again, okay? I swear, I'll never argue with you again. Her soft fragrance mixed with faint alcohol. As she squirmed and looked at me with misty eyes, I couldn't help it. I'm a young man after all, not long into adulthood. Her actions made my blood boil. I swallowed hard and glanced down at her helplessly, a gentle, doting smile appearing in my eyes. I promise, I said, I'll never leave you again. Clara smiled contentedly in my arms, just like a little girl being spoiled. You promised. You're not allowed to disappear again. If anyone disappears without a word again, they're a puppy. A barking puppy. Woof, woof. I nodded furiously. Right, whoever disappears is a puppy. Woof, woof. That finally calmed her down. She quietly nestled in my arms and drifted off to sleep. I turned to Megan and asked, is she always like this when she drinks? Megan quickly shook her head. No. We've had drinks during gatherings, sure, but Clara's always very controlled. She's never once gotten drunk before. She laughed a little. This is the first time we've seen her like this. Who would have thought someone so cold and aloof would act like a child when drunk? The two girls next to her nodded in agreement. I nodded slightly, then noticed the three of them were holding their phones. I frowned. Are you recording this? Megan smiled awkwardly. Just capturing memories. We thought we'd show her tomorrow when she sobers up to help her remember what happened tonight. I twitched my lips, speechless, then muttered, "Fine, just make sure I look good in the video." They were still whispering among themselves. "Wait, didn't she say you died 3 years ago?" I looked down at Clara, now sleeping peacefully in my arms. A faint smile curled on my lips. Yeah, I wonder why she'd say that. After a brief pause, my smile turned a little strange. Following Megan's lead, I carried Clara to their dorm entrance. Gently, I laid her down. "Please take care of her tonight, seniors." "Of course." The girls nodded repeatedly. Then they helped Clara up and supported her, step by step, into the dorm. As they disappeared from sight, I finally turned and left. By the time I got back to the barbecue joint, Kevin and the others were still sitting in the booth, looking perfectly well-behaved. When I pushed the door open, all three jumped up. One pulled a chair out for me, another wiped the table, and the last handed me a fresh plate of hot skewers and a cold beer. Once I was seated, they sat down again in a neat row. Kevin looked at me like he was watching a courtroom drama, his face full of gossip as he asked, "Third bro, what's going on today? It's only the first day of university and you're already secretly dating the prettiest girl in our whole school?" I glanced at them helplessly. "I've known her since high school. I just heard you guys say she was outside, so I went to say hi. I didn't expect her to be drunk, so I just helped her back to the dorm." Kevin rolled his eyes. "Did you check your conscience before saying that? Third bro, don't treat us like we're blind. You call that just friends? Who carries a girl bridal style just to send her home? What, are her roommates idiots?" Ryan chimed in. "Besides, I saw it clearly. Clara threw herself into your arms." Liam's eyes lit up. "Third bro, don't tell me. You're the boyfriend who died 3 years ago," she mentioned. "So you two broke up 3 years ago, and it broke her heart, and she started telling people you died?" Liam suddenly understood something, slapping his thigh. "Ah, I get it now. You dog. You dumped her cold, didn't you? That's why Clara told everyone you were dead. If that's the case during the next 2 weeks of military training, since Clara's our assistant counselor, she's totally going to give us hell. You better fix this, third bro." I sighed deeply. "Don't make stuff up, guys. I've never done anything to hurt her, and we weren't even a couple. From what I know, she never dated anyone in high school." Liam grinned. "So that dead ex-boyfriend from 3 years ago was just made up by Clara? She made up a fake ex to block others from getting close to her. In that case, maybe I've got a chance." "Get lost," Kevin gave Liam a glare. "Quit daydreaming." But my instincts tell me there's definitely a hidden story between third bro and Clara. The three of them all turned to look at me again. "Come on, man, spill the tea." I sighed again. "We were never together, I didn't abandon her, and we're just normal classmates. But you don't have any feelings for her?" I paused for a moment. "Yeah, I do." Meanwhile, in a massive aerospace engine research base in the northern desert, Professor Lucas stared at stacks of classified design blueprints, his head pounding. This man, Vice Dean of the School of Electronic Information at Capital University, was now seated at the conference table, his expression grave. "Everyone," he began. "Regarding the recent test failure, do any of you have insights? Have we identified the problem?" A researcher spoke up. "Yes, the diagnostics are in. Several issues. First, the turbine blade precision is still off. There are also..." The rest listened in silence until the report ended. An elderly expert at the front gave a cold snort. "Let's leave the other issues aside. We've tested the turbine blades how many times now? Still not up to standard. What are those material suppliers playing at? Do they expect us to redesign everything? Other labs that started at the same time as us have already developed 5th-gen engines for transport aircraft and various drones and missiles. Meanwhile, we've spent 10 years on this aerospace battle engine, only to fail at the final step." Lucas suddenly looked up at the old man, Chief Engineer Eugene. "I know someone," he said, "who might help us solve this." That person was me. When they were developing the photolithography machines, that research center ran into similar problems. But when those problems came to me, they got solved, fast. Among those researchers, my reputation had reached mythical levels. Plus, I had discussed aerospace engine design with Lucas before. I had insights of my own. He believed if I got involved, I could fix it. Chief Engineer Eugene looked over. "Who is this person?" "Leo," Lucas said slowly. The room buzzed. "Who's Leo? Which field does he specialize in? Never heard of him in our domestic research circles. If even Eugene, Vice President of the Academy of Sciences, can't solve this, can this mysterious Leo really do it? All these projects were top secret. My identity? Triple S level confidential. That's why none of them had ever heard of me. Only one person, Doctor." Graham looked thoughtful in the crowd. "Leo, Is he the chief designer from that project you were once part of? As a vice dean of the academy, he had access to the real news, and when they proposed me for a senior academician title, he'd even been in the meetings, so he had a basic understanding of my achievements. That's him, Lucas nodded firmly. Dr. Graham raised a brow. Can you bring him in? Wasn't that kid busy, pretending to be a student at Capital University? Exactly, Lucas said, pretending. They all knew my talent. In just 3 years, I developed a 1-nanometer photolithography machine and elevated China's chip tech to the top of the world. That level of talent made the old guys want to tie me down in a lab 24/7. Lucas nodded again. No guarantees, but we should try. Dr. Graham thought for a moment. His eyes lit up. Do it. I'd love to meet this interesting young man. After all, the future of science belongs to the next generation. The next morning, I was packing in my dorm. Kevin, half asleep, scratched his head. Third bro, where are you going so early? Something came up at home. I've got to head back, I said flatly. I had just received a call from Professor Lucas, inviting me to help design the 7th-generation aerospace battle engine. This wasn't something I needed to get involved in, but I understand. The moment I stepped into scientific research, I no longer belonged to myself. Just like when I filled in that line at the research base a few months ago, I'm willing to dedicate myself to science, to fight for my country with knowledge and technology. Some things always need someone to step up. I'm just going back for a bit. You're not planning to do the military training anymore? Kevin instantly sobered up. I've already spoken with the school. Kevin nodded slowly, still unsure. So, just by talking to them, you can skip it? How long will you be gone? If it's fast, a week. If it's slow, I'll be back when your training ends. I'm just going to help give advice, not doing any core planning or research. 2 weeks, tops. Kevin was now fully awake. Wait, you're not just doing this to avoid training, are you? But suddenly you're leaving. Did you say goodbye to the school beauty? My hands paused mid-pack. In the girls' dorm, Clara Snow rubbed her aching forehead. She stretched lazily and asked the already awake Megan beside her. Hey Meg, what time is it now? 7. Still early, Megan chuckled. I'm getting up. Clara quickly got out of bed, rubbing her sleepy eyes. She asked, Did I get drunk last night? I vaguely remember hugging someone. I thought you blacked out. Megan laughed and pulled out her phone. She opened the video she recorded last night. Well, want Big Sis to help you remember? You recorded it? Clara gasped helplessly. You're such a blessing to me. Megan handed her the phone. Look for yourself. Do you remember who carried you home? Clara snatched the phone, and the moment she saw the screen, she froze completely. The video showed me, carrying her back to school. Even the part where I said, make sure I look good on camera? In an instant, memories came flooding in. Tears rolled down from Clara's eyes, as if afraid I might vanish. She watched the video once, then rushed out of bed. Eyes wide, she looked at Megan. Meg, how do you know Leo? Where is he now? He's a freshman in our management department. Last night, when you got drunk, you jumped into his arms. Then he carried you back. Megan narrowed her eyes, teasing. Clara, don't tell me he's the boyfriend you said died 3 years ago. I need to find him. Clara didn't even answer. She threw on clothes and rushed out. Megan called after her, exasperated. Do you even know where his dorm is? Send me the freshman dorm list. Meanwhile, I was walking slowly outside my dorm, heading to the cafeteria for breakfast. Suddenly, I heard a trembling voice behind me. Leo. I looked up. Clara's tears were long wiped away. She just looked at me calmly, silently. 3 years had passed. I didn't look too different, maybe a bit taller. My eyes had lost their boyish innocence, replaced with something steadier, more mature. Even though she'd seen the video, seeing me in person now, that very moment, Clara felt her heart stop. Silence fell between us. Neither of us said a word, like when I shouted, I never want to see you again. That time was more out of spite. Now, what filled her eyes was confusion, resentment. She was angry. Why I left without saying goodbye, even if we weren't lovers. Friends deserve a farewell too, don't they? I stood there frozen, just staring at Clara for a long time. She hadn't changed at all. Still as beautiful as back then. Fair skin, soft cheeks, that same youthful glow. When I left the research base, I'd imagined how this moment might go. You're 18 now. Got a boyfriend? How have you been? Congrats on getting into Capital University. But now, I had no idea what to say. 3 years ago, I inherited the eternal knowledge vault from a super civilization. I still barely understand it now, but it's there, buried in my mind. By studying that vault, I eventually developed 1 nanometer tech, and that's probably the lowest tier of what the vault contains. That nanotech, I handed it over to the nation, and that led to my death 3 years ago. We locked eyes for what felt like forever, and in that silence, memories came rushing back. The teasing when we were called to solve problems on the board, cheering each other on, running 1,500 meters in the school sports meet, sneaking snacks in class, watching the sunset glow across the campus. Our youth was written in each other's stories. This is the end of story. If you enjoy the video, please subscribe as you will get notified when I upload next video, and it also motivate me to make video. See you on next video. Till then, goodbye.